Okay, who do we have on Zoom?
Nobody right now,
Okay,
so. That's slow.
yeah, we can,
Yeah, but we do have a quorum, so.
it's 6:02?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay, we'll start the meeting. Okay, Brett. You're on, audience
I'll stand right here
associates.
so you can hear.
Yep,
So, thank you for letting me speak to you guys today. I'm Brett Kelly, I'm a detective for the police department. I'm the vice president of our PPA, Berlin Police Association, nonprofit. We get donations, that's the only funding we have. So we're looking to have a flag football game on the 21st of November, and we're looking to have the fees waived, just because we spend this money on community events like trunk or treat and policeman's ball, and we don't have a lot of money. So if we could get the fees waived, it would help us and help us keep our funds where they are. But that's all I'm pitching in. And we do these kind of semi-annual events, like sporting events at the park.
anybody have any questions?
Is it just for your members?
Yes, just for the players are just members. The public can come watch if they want to. And we have 22 players right now, so more than half the department. We really want to play under the lights.
No one calls it sick? Like the next.
Yeah, no, we have insurance. We're good. BBA's got insurance. I'm stretching already. I'm ready.
Great. Okay, thanks, Brett. So we'll act on it, based on what I hear. I don't think there's gonna be an issue. Jen can let you know
Are you in
tomorrow
tomorrow?
unless you wanna hang out.
I'm in tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank
You guys have a great night.
Minutes,
Thank
yeah.
That was fast.
Thank you.
You gonna stay longer?
Welcome to the next meeting. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Okay. Okay, minutes were attached into the packet, so could I have someone make a motion to approve the minutes of 10:14?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes 10:14.
Second. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor to adopt the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all set.
Were all four of you at the last meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep, okay, I just wanna make sure, I can't remember.
Yeah, Joe was the only one that was absent, okay. Okay, consent agenda. So we have two items. One is by the Board of Ed, based on our last meeting, to firm things up, the timing and all that, so, why don't we just take item A by itself, since that was brought in last month? Can I have a motion to accept item A?
Make a motion to accept consent agenda item A as presented.
There's seconds, okay, any discussion, questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, item 2, or B, sorry. You're gonna make the motion again?
Yep, I make a motion to accept consent agenda item B as presented by Brett Kelly of the Berlin Police Association.
Okay.
Second.
You want a second, okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Thank you. Okay, and then we have our meetings in the packet. These are dates. Same Thursdays, agenda of each.
Yeah, second
month.
Thursday of every month, kept it at
Yeah.
6 o'clock, because that seemed to work out this year. So,
I mean, if there's any issues as meetings come up, we can always change unless someone has major issues. No. The one in July, my daughter's getting married the 16th, so I'm not sure I'll be here, but, you know, it's far enough away. So, yeah. Hope I won't be here. Okay, Ganesh, you want to make a motion to accept consent agenda item C, which is scheduled for next year?
I'll make motion, consent agenda item C, to approve the schedule for meetings. Sorry.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, good.
Can you guys see if anyone else has joined? or-
No.
No, okay.
I don't really, I see some writing up on the left, I'm not sure if that's anything.
You'd be able to see, there'd be another screen.
Okay,
Split.
yeah, I haven't seen anything. Okay, Parks and Rec monthly report,
Yay, I'm first.
You're
Steve.
welcome.
I don't know, you bumped me out of
Well,
that slide.
if
It
they
may
went
say
long,
permanent.
I'm also covering the office because Terry's not here and I have to be by before 7, but it looks like we'll get through that. So anyway, yeah, just a quick update on basketball. We've got 10 additional kids that have registered since the numbers I sent out. I had my coaches meeting on Monday. We finally got all the slots for coaches filled, so we'll have 4 teams in boys, 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th. 3 teams for 7th and 8th, so they'll do double headers, which they agreed upon. We're gonna play it by ear to see how it will work with the whole mask situation, and we're gonna do that whole thing with the season. I have cut the games from 20 minutes running halves to 16 to build in stop time mask breaks for everyone, so I said we'll be very flexible with that, but like I also reminded them, it's not only for the players, but it's for my staff, because when they're done after their hour game, my staff might be there for 3 more hours, so they need to have some breaks also, so. And we can be flexible if we figure out 2 minutes is too long, we'll do whatever works best for the kids and everyone, so. The coaches were in favor of that. And then the girls will have 4 teams for 3rd and 4th grade, only 2 for 5th and 6th. And unfortunately, none for the 7th and 9th grade division. We had 3 girls register and we offered them to play with the 5th and 6th graders, but they chose not to, so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why numbers are low. There's a lot of different reasons, I guess, but.
there
the
was some
coaches-
posting on Facebook looking for a coach.
Yeah, we that was
You filled
after
that?
Monday. We
Yeah.
were short 3 coaches and by Tuesday, probably like 11 o'clock, I had the 3 coaches we were short. It helps. I sent multiple emails to everyone that registered looking, but I said sometimes coming from the other parents, it kind of pressures them a little bit more. And it seemed to work because we got it right away. So,
Yeah, right, no, that's what you gotta do.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it worked out. I mean, it's, you know what, it is what it is this year. We'll make the best of it and, hopefully get the numbers up next year.
Glad they're playing.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are,
So 7th and 8th girls are not playing,
no,
boys are.
boys are, yeah, 3 teams. Yeah, so. But those, 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th for the boys the last couple years, they've only had 4 teams anyway. So the 5th and 6th grade is right on line with what we've had in the past. It's just the 7th and 8th is a little short, but. Don't forget, these kids, haven't played in 2 years, so.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. Like the kids in our 4th grade program, our 3rd and 4th graders, none of them have played in our league before. We've never had that before, so I think it's just a lot of kids trying to get back into activities and, indoors in the winter, I think it's gonna be tough. So we'll do the best we can. The coaches all seem great, so I think we'll have a great season. I do have I don't know if I mentioned this last time, a new girls coordinator. I think I did mention it. Did I mention that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so her name is Catherine, she's from Waterbury, she's actually a student at Southern in the field of recreation and leisure, which is what I graduated with. And so I think she's gonna be a great addition. She's done travel basketball in Waterbury and also basketball with at-risk youths in middle school and high school. So she does have some experience, but just kind of wanted to get some additional experience.
Yeah, that's great.
And I checked her references and the woman that I know spoke very highly of her, so. So I'm looking forward to that, she'll be there, it's kind of a good maybe year for her to ease in with less teams, but.
Yeah, right.
I think she'll be great, and Mark DePinto is gonna also be there and kind of help her out. He wanted to help a little bit, but couldn't make the full commitment, so I think that'll be a great addition also, because he's coached in the league for so many years, so he can kind of show her the ropes and explain how we run our games and calls and things like that, so that'll be very helpful.
Excellent, good.
And then we've gotten some applications for the program coordinator position that's also been added to the budget, and a few people from that have graduated from Southern also in recreation have applied, so we're gonna set up interviews. I just don't have time now, so we'll set them up after Thanksgiving, so hopefully get someone on board by the beginning of the year. So that'll be helpful for me to try to start having them do things and then get them to start planning some other activities for us.
Great.
So that's all I have.
Trunk or treat was awesome again. Debbie's
That was
really,
good.
she thought outside the box last year and did it, it's a hit, I mean, everyone coming through is just so happy, so
It was fun.
it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay, nothing else, you good?
Yeah, yep, no, there's no, nothing else.
Community center, senior center update.
Yeah, no,
We had our last monthly meeting,
that's it.
the first Thursday, whatever day that was, last week. And Deb and Tina joined us because Deb had gone to the Newtown facility with us, and Tina has been to the other facilities. So we visited 4 locations. And the reports, I wrote up reports for every one that I went to.
Brendan,
I assume those will be public, Jen, right?
they
With our
were posted,
minutes?
they were posted with the minutes.
Right, so, they'll be posted with the minutes. I would suggest you guys take a look at them. I mean, it's just good information even aside from the community and senior center. Overall, Newtown, from my opinion, was hands down a beautiful facility. I mean, there's some things that we would do differently or recommendations and things like that, lessons learned from them. But the facility is beautiful. It does not have a gym because an eighth of a mile away, they have a huge sports center, private sports center facility that I've never seen anything like it in my life. It's just huge. But they have 3 pools. They have a 6-lane pool, very good size, therapy pool for water aerobics and other swim lessons and things. And then they have a toddler pool. And everything is on, ramps to go into the pool. Like the toddler pool, you walk in and the toddler pool is right there. It's kind of like a beach area. There's mats, soft mats as you walk in. And that's what it kind of reminds me of, because it's very wide and splash pad. And then seniors can go in that way, or people can go in that way that wants to go to the therapy pool because they're connected. You kind of go around and down and around, and the therapy pool's in the back. And on the right-hand side is the 6-lane pool. One thing that they recommended strongly, put in an 8-lane pool. It's about $1 million more for 2 extra lanes. They've had such strong usage that they are now putting some of their programs, like the Dolphins and things like that, at the high school. The high school has a full competitive 6-lane pool as well with diving. So that's why they don't have a diving well in this community center. Lots of meeting rooms. It is not their senior center, because they chose it, at this point to keep it as a community center, and everybody uses it. There's all kinds of rooms. Debbie, I don't know if you wanna chime in, but overall, well, you've been to that one, right? So, but it's a newer facility.
Yeah, no, it was nice. I would like to see more meeting rooms than what they had. They had a couple like specialty rooms, where they had like, special tables for the kids for arts and crafts and painting, where they had higher tables for the adults, lower tables for the kids. And they had run summer camp. They said they ran summer camp out of that facility, so that was interesting. And he did have a lot of suggestions of what they wish they had now, so
Yep.
that will be helpful as we go forward. And it's interesting, I belong to a women's park and rec group on Facebook, and it's people from all over the country. And they often put about buildings, and something to keep in mind, and we kind of talked about it, is every single person said storage. You think you have enough, and you don't. So always make sure, because once you start doing all these activities and you start bringing in more equipment, and I thought that was interesting, that was just within the last couple of days.
Storage and outlets.
And here they did a good job with this community center. We have a lot of outlets in our rooms.
Good,
So that was good, but I thought that was an interesting thing, that storage, they said really, even though they kind of stressed and thought they had put enough in, there really isn't when you start, especially in the aquatics area, you have all the, kickboards and noodles and all this stuff, and it adds
Right.
up,
Right.
so.
They financially well-run facility. the director that runs it, young guy. They do direct charges, so they have a separate Parks and Rec department. So this is all the direct charges for the community center, all in one set of financials. And where they use people, obviously, some people in the community center will work for Parks and Rec. Summertime pools, the aquatic director handles the summertime pools, handles the high school pool. So there's an allocation of her salary based on that. Same with other people coming in and helping the community center from Parks and Rec or other departments. So financially, if you just look at their community center costs, including the director, there's 3 or 4 staff, and including the senior center, which is down the hall and pretty active. After fees, membership fees for the pools, it costs their town, excluding $1 million they get from GE each year. If you take that out, it'll cost $600,000 to run that facility. Soup to nuts, that includes everything, landscaping, everything is directly in there, fringes, everything is there. So I showed that to a couple of our members because on the Board of Finance, somewhere, someone talked about it being a $3 million hit each year for operating costs. When I showed him, he said, oh, well, I really meant to say, or whoever meant to say, $3 million in expenditures before membership fees. Okay, it's not even that. So, it's pretty interesting. It's about $1.5 million. And then they take in about $900,000 in fees. The director does his own grant writing. He'll go anywhere for grants. He does about $50,000 a year. And so his goal is to make it self-sustaining because eventually after 5 years, they'll lose the $1 million from GE. Which they get over the first 5 years, $1 million each. And right now, so far this year, although it just started, he's on track for that. He feels pretty confident he's gonna end this year pretty much break even. So that's what the real numbers are. We went to Mansfield, an older facility, my take is not as well run, and it includes all park and rec fees for Mansfield. So all parks and rec, outdoor pools, no way to separate it. So it's hard really to gauge how much it costs them, but they took a big hit during COVID because they rely so much on membership fees there. And silver sneakers is a major issue for these towns. If they accept it, a lot of towns, and I guess other organizations are starting not to accept it, because when you accept silver sneakers, which is for Medicare, with their supplement insurance, you get these silver sneakers, so supposedly free membership. What happens to the owners is every time someone swipes, they get $3, no more than $30 a month, no more than $360 for the full year. But they'll only get $30 a month if the person comes in 10 times to swipe, 10 times to visit. And they have to run certain programs that are required by silver sneakers, just for example, chair yoga or something like that. And there may be a fee involved to pay for the instructor from someone participating in that program. Silver sneakers, it's absolutely free. They won't allow any monies to be paid to the town for that. So the town ends up absorbing a lot of costs. The mayor was there when we stopped in, and right away she said, get rid of silver sneakers. She was an older woman. She was like, get rid of silver, they ruined it for us, blah, blah, blah. So she was pretty, so then we learned about it from that. So these trips are really being well worth it. 3 of us can go along with staff, like I said, Debbie and Tina, and Jen just is set a date for the Branford, which is a rehab facility, community and senior center. So the next month, December 2nd is the meeting, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, first Thursday.
Board of Ed.
December,
Yeah, first Thursday. An interesting one for maybe people to attend. It will be on funding. We're hoping to have Jim Mahoney there, who writes our grants. And then we've asked Jen to get the state reps there, or 3 separate state reps. And anyone else that has any type of funding that, you know, just to start the juices flowing a little bit, so. So that's the update. Anything else, Jen?
No, it's pretty, this meeting was a lot of recapping the site visits and what worked, what didn't work, what did the other groups learn, and kind of talk about that. So it was good. We also had Mr. and Mrs. Thurston came and spoke about the importance of having an 8-lane pool versus a 6-lane pool, having a diving well, so you can actually use the pool for competition, and some other ideas.
And one of our new town council members came and attended, which was good. And he put a nice post on Facebook. He's following, which good to see, so. Any questions or, yeah, again, feel free, December 2nd, it'd be a good one to join. I'm hoping it'll be good. So,
Yeah, and we're in the Board of Ed conference room, so there's plenty of room for audiences.
yeah, there's plenty of
Just
room.
come on,
You can also zoom in.
put up chairs.
Okay. Steve?
So I'm gonna try to start going down a different avenue, trying to getting you guys more familiar with everything that we actually do that's not park related.
Thank you.
I think it'll help. So we had the homecoming, the ski invitational, the Jeep show, which I think were really successful. The homecoming was fantastic. We did not hear any complaints from any neighbors. The grounds crew went in at 6 o'clock the next morning, picked up the trash, picked up all the trash barrels. So it wasn't, they cleaned the whole entire ground, so we got no complaints on that.
Great.
We've actually started to go out and start scarifying some of the ball fields, just try to get them ready for next spring. It seems like winter keeps going longer and longer, so if anything we do prior to the beginning, we've done that. Our soccer fields unfortunately took an absolute beating this year. And it's gonna take a couple of years to get the grass back in front of every single mouth of goal mouth that's destroyed, just from how wet it was, how much use they got, the overuse that they're getting. And it's not just us, it's Newington, Rocky Hill, Windsor, Weathersfield, everybody's in the same boat, but Cromwell got a lot of pushback for the amount of games they canceled this year. We didn't cancel as much as them, but a lot of public outcry of why are we canceling when we get an inch and a half of rain? Ugh. It's like, seriously, like Willard still isn't playable since the storm. I mean, they moved the goal, we haven't painted it, they moved the goals, so at least out of where they were.
Doesn't matter.
But then we can't close a field for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We started to try to rebuild our inventory of benches and tables, especially at the price of lumber right now. We're hoping to get into a policy of building 10 benches and 10 tables every year moving forward. So that should re-up us, and at one time we'll probably get up to like 60 or 70 tables, which would be great. It seems like more and more tables are needed at the schools, more are needed at the parks, especially with the benches, especially with COVID and everybody wanting to separating, or them having a table that they've never had before, and all of a sudden they're like, wait a second, we can use more tables. So it's kind of really grown that way. We were able to get our fall fertilizer down, and we started working with Jamie Miller and Doug Truitt, getting all the food over at Pistol Creek. So that's kind of taking up our time. Oh, there is a piece of playground equipment that is broken at Willard. It's called a boat, it's called a sway fun. And what it is, it's bolted to a concrete pad, and from the years and the moisture and everything, the bolt's sheared off. So we've got Emmy O'Brien coming in sometime in the next couple of weeks. We're gonna lift it out of there, they're gonna fix it, reset it, so then that will be covered. So that's somewhere around like $3,500. just-
That's on the playground on the other side, not Friendship.
It's on Friendship.
Oh, it's Friendship, okay.
It's like a handicap, it's for
Okay.
kids with disabilities where you can take a wheelchair, roll it out there, you
Yeah.
can sit on it, it's kind of
Yeah.
sways. So that's basically the Parks and Grounds report.
Questions?
Yes, a couple of questions. The homecoming thing, I agree with. I spoke to Jen about the thing. It worked out great. My daughter was there. We went there, we listened from the outside, both sides of it, one in the neighborhood and one in the parking lot. And it was not obnoxious at all. Kids were dancing, it was full, and it finished at 10 after 9. It was all done. But the guy that was here from the Board of Ed saying that he was gonna notify people, they didn't notify anyone.
They didn't, the neighbors.
They didn't
I know
pass out
from my
notices, the people that live right there, the one that overlooks the, you know him, Brian Nelson.
Yep.
He never got any notice at all. They did put it on the police
Facebook.
department
Yeah.
Facebook site, so I guess you have. to be
Yeah, I
a
was
member of
told-
You have to
Facebook see
follow.
that. Yeah.
I was told police Facebook, police Instagram, and through the neighborhood watches.
I mean, you know, I suppose, I don't know, it's much to ask, flyer being stuffed in mailboxes by, you know, somebody, upbeat people, you know, for the streets that touch those neighborhoods, I don't know, but it's not, it wasn't.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of thought that's what they were gonna do, is just leave something in everybody's mailbox that at least abuts the property, but they didn't, right? And the watch groups, they may have content,
Right.
unfortunately, the watch groups didn't do anything, so. At least the people that I know in the neighborhood, and you know. So.
Had,
But they also said it wasn't bad, they complimented the kids,
yeah,
they
no, it was
You know,
great,
so-
it really worked out good. It was-
credit to the high
I
school
mean, I
and
hope
the
the
kids,
field wasn't too,
glad they
beat
had a
up.
good time.
Oh, it's down at Fairmont.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Donnie said, 'cause he was there, coaching the next day, said it was a disaster. I could tell by my kids' sneakers, which were white, and they came brown.
And also, just to put this note out there, one of their rules was no heels.
Yeah.
That was one of the rules. That was also one of the rules on Spruce Field for graduation. I don't believe we had issues at graduation, but keeping that in mind, if they're looking to do graduation again, it's something I'll be stressing, because I saw a ton of pictures on Facebook of girls with high heels on. So that's just something we'll have to keep in mind, that I know
Yeah.
you said that was a rule, but they didn't follow it here, so how do I know they're gonna follow it on schools?
Yep, yeah,
So,
Well, the heels would help the aerate the field.
How are you guys making out, putting your office and building back together?
So we've been back in now for the better part of 6 weeks. Our trailer, our second storage trailer is almost empty. And the game plan is they're gonna go out for an RFP to build us a 100-year flood plan, where they'll come in, they're gonna cut all the walls 4 feet and put a cinder block. So we won't know what's gonna go on with that probably till March or April, and that's when we have the storage containers. So we're all back together, we're all back where we needed to be. We're able to organize the shop and make it more user-friendly with being able to throw away a lot of the older stuff that we've had and replace it with stuff that's actually not falling apart and we pulled out of the scrap here.
Yeah.
So,
What do you guys do, like, since that time, we've had pretty heavy rainstorms, we've had some, and we got another one coming. Is there anything extra that you do?
no,
caution-wise?
we pretty much know when it's gonna happen. Like, so the night before the storm came and then we got flooded, we lift everything up, we put everything on trailers, we ship it to Sage, we put it into the salt shed. Anything that we can put on top of anything, we already know, so we're already well prepared. We have to be getting somewhere between a portion of 2 to 3 inches of rain for 3 hours.
Okay,
You know, it's kind of like a blizzard, but with rain, so they forecast it pretty well. We know if we're getting 5 inches of rain and it's gonna fall in a short period of time, we know we've just gotta go dry. So.
doesn't that make more sense, like, other people should know that going up, so that these guys don't have to live like that? Because you're not the only ones using that facility.
Right,
No, the
it's
whole
us,
thing-
it's
they
us
do
and
know.
Iowa.
Yeah,
it wasn't every building in the complex.
Years ago, the way it was is
And
the
it-
water
the-
came in. Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry, that whole area of town is a flood zone.
Right.
And it just flows right down to the river behind you, so this is how they built it, they realize the risks that they have, in fact, their insurance company knows too, it's paying out all the time, so.
The back of the new senior center property, that's where he wants to put the road, that's exactly what happens to that.
Yeah, there's definitely a flooding area there, wetlands, and so they would have to build it up, and then coming into Lower Lane.
Yeah.
You know, something would have to be done to keep it above, but yes, that's right,
Because that storm that they had, it was about 4 feet deep there, where he wants to put his road.
and it's crappy stuff all around there too, that's the thing, so. Yeah, I don't know what, you know, the town or the town building, planning and zoning, what they intend to do with that, I just don't know.
Have you thought about any more, making, signs for the parks that's got a phone number to call?
We're getting together next week, Plainville, Rocky Hill, Weathersfield, Newington, and Cromwell, kind of bounce off of each other, what each other want, how they get it out there, what makes it work. Does it make sense possibly to do like one of those SKUs where you actually put the SKU, you can scan it, and it takes you to the town's website with who you want to contact? So we're gonna see where they're at. It seems like Newington seems to be far more advanced than other towns when it comes to certain things like this. I know Rocky Hill's going through a situation right now where they have people parking at their grass at their high school. And the conversation is, well, you tell, why are you letting them park there? And the police are like, well, there's no sign that says they can't park there, so. So that's kind of, we're gonna feel out what other towns are doing to figure out what we want to do to make the most sense.
The parking thing that you mentioned it, while I was at the football game, we were all parking right on the soccer field along from Turnpike, and it was mushy, And then the next day I drove by, because I had to go somewhere, and it was early, 7 a.m. And they were playing mini kickers on.
Yeah.
I don't know how they were doing it, because I was parked deep on it, because it was well attended. So that entire field is just.
The beauty of it, right, that's rock underneath.
Yeah, there's a gravel base.
Gravel underneath it, right, so if it rains, even if there are puddles there, it's okay, I mean, it's not really, it's just crazy, it's not really pushing. The only thing that I told Steve about is over by the walkway, there are people parking right in there, and people cannot see kids coming or people coming across.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only other place that, that we really decide.
And the Pettits took the signs down at Royal.
He did.
Yes. they're
Thank
all
you.
done.
Wow, good reminder.
Thanks for following up.
Yeah, 'cause it was not on my radar at all, I totally forgot about it.
Well, we were gonna call him and ask him if he wanted us to help. But as I drove by, I saw the signs down in the pile. So,
Yeah, no, Joe Miller called last Wednesday and asked us to pick them up on Friday. Yeah, Friday. Yep, they just threw them all away.
yes, I'm sure they were.
They'll be there for years, like.
Yeah.
We actually had that on the ticker to follow up, so thank you.
Yes,
That's good.
that's that.
Good. Okay,
Yep.
any other questions? On the signs, when we go through, in fact, we're gonna get to it, but first, when we talk about the dog park. But memorials and naming facilities and fields is next on the agenda. So again, attached, Tony had marked it up, and then it's since been marked up with comments that we had a couple of meetings ago.
Yeah.
Don did text me just to share with you, he couldn't make tonight's meeting, but he was okay, the way the way it's written. You
I
wanna,
took your notes from the
yes,
meeting and I basically
I saw them,
incorporated them in.
Yep,
So,
yep.
I mean.
Yep.
So if we were to, say if we had this policy based on the last two people that came in requesting, they wouldn't meet the criteria.
I would say the last one, maybe the first one, if it's the one I'm thinking of, perhaps, again. Depending, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think certainly on the last one, yeah.
Well, they still have to do more work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, definitely more,
Yeah.
yeah, more information would have
More
to be presented and things like that, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Right. So let me just throw this out, if you go to the procedure, Parks and Rec Commission number 3 will set a waiting period after receipt of a request. Should we include whatever the waiting period is? And I say that because let's just assume we pass this, goes to corporate council, town council.
Does not have to go to council.
Huh?
It does not have to go to council. It didn't go to council the first time because the Parks and Rec Commission has purview of the fields. So the first time we did it, I asked Corporation Council, if council needed to prove it.
Okay,
they
so
no.
then, okay, so number 5, okay, so but the naming has to go to
If you
council.
got, yes, this
Okay.
policy does not need to be approved by council.
Okay. so two things well, one thing on that. I would ask that we make sure our corporate counsel looks at this before we adopt it. Maybe, there's certain wording or whatever that we want to incorporate, okay? And then the second thing that is number 3, should we set the waiting period? I think that's gonna be a bone of contention if there is any, like, someone comes in, now we set up waiting period. Why not just set the waiting period and have that in the procedure? There's a waiting period of.
Somebody's here, I hear somebody.
It looks like 2 people. But I.
Joe Pulcini, I just joined.
Hi, Joe.
Sorry I'm late. Good evening.
Yeah.
And then, is someone else on? Is there 2?
Yeah.
If it's 2, it's us.
The other
No,
one says
there's
someone-
3. No, there's 3.
There's 3 blocks,
There's a
right?
video.
There's
Owner,
us
Joe,
and then
and
2
the-
others.
Yeah, there is someone else on. I can't make out who it is either.
Okay, it's just for the record, so we're just gonna continue on public. So I think we should set a waiting period to incorporate into that. Any thoughts about how long? I think we only meet once a month. And this waiting period is designed so that if other people have issues, somehow it needs to be publicized, that Parks and Rec is considering, naming a field for this person, and then there's a waiting period. So, Tony, any
90 days
I think corporate.
90 days from the date
of request.
Of
So the
request.
requested it
of
is-
request at the Parks and Rec
Yeah,
meeting?
so they make a request
90
now,
days from
3
the
months
meeting
from
date.
now.
Okay,
Yeah, and maybe the corporate counsel can chime in on that, so I'm sure that seems fair.
yeah, just
Because
as long as
it
we're
gives us
specific.
time to put, like you said, put it out in public.
Right, so we have our meeting tonight. Is it 90 days from tonight? Is it 90 days from the date we post our minutes? Which is, within a day or 2, they post the,
Within 7 business days.
So-
what is it?
Within 7 business days.
Okay, so it would be 7 days later. I would propose once you post the minutes, because that would kind of incorporate letting the public know, so 90 days from that date.
90 days from the date of posting the meeting minutes on the town website.
You're writing that down. You're gonna email me.
So it's, yeah,
So
90 days from posting minutes where a request has been submitted for a name change.
So what other public notice would you be required to provide?
It's the minutes, that's all there
That's it.
is. I mean, we're
I don't
not
know.
gonna put something in the,
Yeah, we don't have a budget to put things in
Hey,
Well,
paper.
that's the other point I was gonna make.
Yeah, well, it's really up for discussion.
I think it's up to the person. If I'm bringing my family, because I want to name it after somebody, it's up to me to get the word out there, I think. Because I'm the one that needs the support of,
But at the same
But it's
time,
also to let, if there's other issues that
Right.
someone knows about that person, that
Right.
we don't, no one's brought
Yeah,
forward,
like-
it's all
like a
favor,
prior request. Right.
right,
So we have the opportunity to go out there to get the counter side too. May not be in agreement.
right,
right.
Just out of curiosity, how did some of the other commissions handle notification to the public? Is it, would we be consistent if we said we do it through publication of the minutes? And that would be the extent of it.
yeah, most commissions just utilize the town website. Through the minutes, through, meeting minutes and meeting agendas.
I would still ask the corporate.
Plus,
counsel
all our
if they're
videos are now
consent.
recorded and on our website too.
All right, well, I think it's a fair question. We'll have to follow up on that.
That's the only change.
So, that one, and then, so number 5, I was gonna ask for clarification, so I think I got Parks and Rec. We'll have the town corporate council review and propose naming prior to recommendations to the council.
I don't know why.
So
we-
why are we gonna have the council review the name? Like,
Right, I don't
we-
think that's necessary. I think it should go straight to.
So the
council.
council's gonna look at this document and say, you've got a sound procedure, it's legal, it makes sense, you know, that thing. But if now when someone comes in and we follow the procedure, and then it goes to, from us to the council, why would the
It should,
town
yeah, the
council get
recommendation,
involved?
the recommendation for you to name a field after someone
Goes directly to
should
the
go
council.
from you to the council. As council is discussing it, Attorney Donofrio's right there. If there's any questions, they can ask it. But I think the decision is between here and then goes to the council.
So I think we just say Parks and Rec Commission,
We'll make
will
recommendations to the town
provide,
council.
we had to submit a request in writing to the Parks, okay, so Parks and Rec Commission
We'll make
will
recommendations.
then recommend the proposed naming change to the town council. So take out town corporation council, yeah.
And Tony, I can change this on my end, but wherever you say park and rec director, which actually doesn't exist
Oh,
in our department, we're gonna say director of community recreation and park services.
Yes, okay, that's fine.
But I can change those on my end, Tony.
I gave you a Word document, right?
If not, I'll tell you. But you're gonna resend me that with the things you just wrote down that I didn't write down, so. okay.
I'm still trying to figure out how to write.
And we're gonna spell out recreation instead of rec everywhere. That's just-
That's pet peeve.
You can, you know, for number 5, you could just, the town council has the final say or whatever, the final, you know, they're the final say for any name change. And the Parks and Recreation Commission will submit such name change.
I think it's
As
important to
appropriate.
use the term make the recommendation.
Yeah.
Because that's
After the
what
waiting
everything
period.
we do as a commission is we're making that recommendation that council approve it. That's how
After
all
the
our
waiting
agenda
period.
items read.
Anything else?
No.
I think we've kind of been, so what I would suggest,
I can change those. You sent me the changes that you have. Was only half listening to what you said. What you said.
I don't know, we'll talk.
Parks and Rec.
Tony and I will figure it out. Yeah.
Another title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anywhere you wrote rec, I was gonna change to recreation.
and then just keep all
Just
these
that my
cross
fingers
out though,
can't
don't,
type recreational and get-
don't accept any of the changes. Keep the cross outs and everything, because that, the corporate council will want to see those, just, you know, show them what was before.
No, he's gonna wanna see the final document.
Well, give them both, because I don't,
Yeah.
give them both,
Yeah, he always likes to see
All right,
finalized
for you.
documents.
right,
Okay,
okay,
got it.
Nice job.
okay.
So are you taking action or no?
So does anybody feel that they need to see this before we send it to town council or to corporate council? I don't, as long as you make those changes, you make your change.
And then-
Both you agree.
I'm
So
okay
I'm
with
gonna
sending
make
it
these changes, you're gonna send it to the town council.
corporation,
Corporation
town attorney.
council For review, come back to us again.
Yeah, we can do that.
and then.
You don't have to take
he's-
action.
With any changes he proposes, right?
Yeah,
Any of this stuff,
just take action in December.
okay? So can I have a motion that authorizes Jen to submit the policy of memorials and naming facilities and fields with the discussed changes to the town corporate council?
Yes. I'll make a motion that Jen submit policy on memorials and naming field facilities to the
The town attorney.
town attorney.
Second, Dinesh, any further discussion, Joe?
I'm good with everything that I've sat through in the discussion. I read the document before. Tony, I think you did a really nice job putting that together.
Thanks.
Any further discussion? The other person is not Andrew.
No, it just says owner. I don't know who it is.
Okay, all right. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Tony, that's a
Nice
great,
job.
great job.
How fast how fast do you want it, in other words, so I can.
I'll shoot you an email tomorrow with my changes and next week's fine. All I'm gonna do is send you the job title and change rec to recreation.
And then he's gonna send it back to you.
Attorney Denaki is usually a quick turnaround, so.
Okay, next on the agenda is the dog park and lease ordinance discussion. So I handed them out, Joe. Apologies, but in your packet was not included the ordinance memo that we had sent to the ordinance committee on July 27th.
I apologize, I forgot to attach it.
And the October 18th action that was taken up by the town council. Do you have copies?
No.
Jen, do you have another copy? Joe, I sent you pictures of it.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
that
have
was the
one.
that was the subsequent email you sent, right?
Yeah, that was the one she sent right before the meeting started.
Yep, I know. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Okay, so the first document is the one that, the memo that I sent to the ordinance committee dated July 27th. Now, what's happened is, prior to the election, I went to the council and I asked them to take action on item 1 of our memo before the election, knowing that they probably wouldn't take any action on item 2, which is where to place a unleashed dog park or whether to do it or not. And so they did. They actually met, I guess October 18th was the date they met. And so what we had asked is that they prohibit animals on town-owned athletic facilities and fields. Now, I will point out that further down, I underscored it in the middle of the paragraph. We are not asking for animals not be allowed in parks, but rather not be allowed within the playing field or track. And I should not probably have said that. My initial thought when I wrote this was athletic facilities, meaning no animals go into stage 1 from the first fence in. They don't get in. They get in and then they can't go on the turf field. That wasn't my intent. My intent when I wrote this was cannot break the first fence. Same with the softball field. Cannot go past the first fence. They can't go to the bleachers. The animal cannot go to the bleachers. That was my intent. Now, each of commission members have to consider what you feel is reasonable. I mean, it's a decision by all of us. But I probably should not have said playing field or track because on October 18th, what the lawyer did a fairly good job is that if you look down on this ordinance, they have definitions. And they said, at large means an animal off premises on a leash or lead 7 feet in length. It was 20, they reduced it to 7. On school or other non-designated public property and accepting playing fields, playgrounds, golf courses, tracks, or outdoor courts on which dogs are not allowed per that code. And then on or on a leash, Okay, so they use the term playing fields. And then they say playgrounds, golf courses, tracks, we don't want them on the track, or outdoor courts. Okay? If you turn over to the next page, they added a section called Parks and Rec and Open Spaces. And I don't know why they just say dogs. I said animals, but they say dogs are not allowed on playing fields. Again, playgrounds, golf courses, tracks, or outdoor. So they're not, dogs are allowed on all other ground areas. So to me, I read that and I said, oh, crap. They're allowing it inside the fence, stage 1. All that, the turf field, outside the turf field, center rally going down. So that was not the intent that I had, but I'll open it up for discussion on how others feel. What we can do though, if we don't agree with this wording, or even if we agree, I intend to attend as chair, but on November 30th, they had to give a 30-day, minimum 30-day notice to change an ordinance in town. So November 30th at 7 o'clock, prior to that town council meeting, there'll be a public meeting. And they'll present the ordinance, and who's ever there can get up and speak, and they will accept changes at that point and incorporate, if they feel it's correct, incorporate it into the ordinance. So if we want the wording changed, to be more specific, we need to do that. Otherwise, this is what the wording will be. So
When you say inside the fence, you're saying stage one is the softball.
Sage One and not Sonarelli, Scalise.
Yeah, well, inside Scalise, that makes sense, but inside the playing field
No.
of stage one.
No, I'm saying inside that first fence. Keep them off so that, you
They're
know,
not by the bleachers, right, they're not inside the.
right, but you have,
You know where the gate is?
Yeah.
Those?
yeah,
Nothing, no dogs there. So the passive recreation path.
Yeah.
That was put in, no dog is allowed to go past the building. You cannot walk your dog around on the scene park.
Correct.
Alright,
If the wording is athletic facilities.
but see, the problem, we have two fences at Sage One. We have the playing field fence, which is right along the bullpen, going around the whole field. And then you have an outside fence. And inside, in between the two fences is where you have the stands for people to sit.
As well
Right,
as
right
the
in front of the batting
recreation
cages.
trail.
So that may not be,
Comes to stage auxiliary.
yeah.
that would. So some people, and you know, I talked to Jen when I saw the wording. So, you know, Jen thought, well, if I want to bring my dog and I want to sit on the bleachers, that might be okay. And that's something for us to discuss. I did not have that intent. That's my opinion. But I'm just telling you. So now Tony comes in tonight. Tony, tell us your story.
Football game Friday night, sitting in the bleachers, watching the game, guy walking up with his dog on a leash, old dog, like bulldog or whatever, sweater. And him and his wife, whoever, sat down, they put themselves up, and they sat there and watched. The dog sitting right there in the bleachers. And it was packed. Police was packed Friday night.
So,
So,
and again, this is something to ask the lawyer, but they don't have a definition of playing fields. This, all it says is playing fields. If I were the person bringing that dog, I'd say, I'm not allowing my dog on the playing field. This is okay, based on this new ordinance.
yeah, I think it has to be identified more clearly.
Yeah.
And then, so that facility is run by the Board of Ed that night. Right? It's
It's our
football game.
park,
It's our park, but they're using it.
but it goes by our rules.
So-
Or this ordinance,
So.
it goes by the
It
ordinance.
goes by the ordinance,
Right.
but who enforces it that night?
Please.
The police department,
So
with this
somebody's got-
ordinance, the
Somebody's
police,
gotta go up to a cop and go,
to that point, Tony, excellent, yes, probably. But also, we asked that signs be put up at the parks, that was another request in here. Is
Right,
that-
and if we go that route, I won't lie to you, with the price of signs right now.
Right, and that's what I
$60 a
just
sign,
said,
it's probably gonna be 5 years before we get signs at every single park.
quite frankly, I
I
think
mean,
you'll.
You're looking at Sage, you're looking at Scalise itself. There's 4 fences it has to go on, there's 2 4. You're looking at Sage 1, there's 4 fences, there's 4 8.
And it's something coming out of his operating budget, it's not like there's money
I-
set aside for it.
That will be something that we'll have to push at the ordinance meeting, but
But when you make the sign that says no dogs, you're gonna put everything else you want.
we get a little dog.
There
in that
has to
circle with
be-
the slash.
No, because you're gonna wanna make park rules, you're gonna make park rules sign. Because we're not going, we don't wanna go back to the way it looked 6 years ago, where you had 8 different signs walking around
Right.
Scalise.
Right.
Because it's gone. So you're gonna wanna have no dogs on playing, field, no dogs,
somehow
Allow
we're
it at
gonna
this
have
facility.
to, that has to be
because that's what it's
discussed.
gonna say. Because if you're
Right.
saying no dogs on stage 1, no dogs allowed inside stage 1.
You're gonna,
Because every field touches, they play
So
field.
my daughter is playing in college soccer and I've been going to different schools visiting. And we have a dog less than a year old. We've been taking the dog with us. And there's no place they can go inside a fence. Everything's outside a fence. There's no, you know, if I was coming up to Scalise and it was my first time, it would be on the outside of the fence. gonna go sit in the bleachers.
Right.
Nobody,
even just-
nobody lets you bring a dog inside the bleachers.
Right,
Even
right.
looking outside Sage Park, because let's face it, this is gonna be paramount in a lot of other locations. Donna used Centerelli as an example. If
Right.
you use the term athletic facilities, no one's bringing their dog to a game at Centerelli anymore,
I would,
because that is considered.
it's an athletic facility.
Yeah.
Whereas by playing fields, you can still bring your dog to watch the game, you're not going on the actual playing.
I would
So that goes for Greta too, right? The
Yep.
whole thing.
Yeah.
You can't pull in to the parking lot with your dog and let your dog out.
Your
Exactly.
dog cannot get out of,
The-
first of all, the whole entire Percival
The
field
entire-
complex, you cannot bring your dog.
And I will
And
tell
you
you, we
know.
have 2 animal control officers, one full-time, one part-time, and you have cops. If you all of a sudden are taking away Beretta, you're taking away Centerelli, places where people go and walk their dogs, the trail at Sage Park, the monitoring of that is astronomical. I mean, it's just, it would be very, very difficult.
We said athletic facilities, right? So Centerelli, that bleacher area is part of the athletic facility. Again, I don't believe dogs should be there, animals should be there, I just don't, right? For that path at Sage, somehow they just go, they're gonna have to go to the left
But where
of
would
that
you-
outside fence.
Where would you post the sign? Where would you post the sign at Sage Auxiliary? Where would you post the sign coming from the kickboard area?
I don't, you're gonna have to figure that out, I don't know, but it has to go on the
It's at
outside
the
fence.
entrance.
It has
It's
to go on the
flashing
outside
lights.
fence.
No dogs on this property.
There's, each field by itself is, I say, an athletic facility, right? But if I drive up and I park my car at Sage, in the big parking lot there, and I take my dog out to go up to the track, that pathway, right? I would go over and I would go to the left of the outer fence and then go around the softball, the second softball field, around
But
the back.
you have to walk by a bleacher that's less than 3 feet away from
That's right.
it, on Sage too.
No, right,
No, there is
on the
no,
left side of it, the bleacher is over here for Sage 2,
Bleachers right on third base, which is not even 4 feet away.
and it's
from-
not inside the fence.
There is no fence.
There's no fence on
No,
Yeah,
fence.
right, so that one, then you have to build a path to the left, you can somehow.
The path is built as far as the left. No, that's right. You're walking down the path, the bleachers right there.
it's all stone.
You're walking up around Zipadelli.
It's
You're gonna
all,
walk,
yeah,
you're
it's
gonna walk by 2 bleachers.
all of Sage Park.
Yes. Again, then you know what we gotta do? We gotta map out the fields and figure out what is an athletic facility.
So then you go to Percival Field.
Yeah.
You have a pool they can't be at. You have a soccer field they can't be at. You have a baseball field they can't be at. You have a playground.
I mean, do people
There are
bring
no
their
dogs.
Do you want dogs on the soccer field?
No,
No,
but
but
people
they
bring their,
bring their
people walk their
dogs
dogs at
inside.
Bristol Park all the time.
I will tell you, for all our soccer games, from the little guys and mini kickers, all the way up, travel game, people bring their dogs and sit inside.
I agree. Everyone brings a dog.
And-
So what do we, so then
Every
where
game
are
I
you
go
left
to, there's
with?
at least a couple.
I've
dogs.
never seen a problem with any dog at any sporting event that I've attended in 13 years.
Yeah, I've never heard of a dog running onto a field. During a
I,
sporting
yeah,
event.
I would feel comfortable that I
So-
sat at McGee soccer games this year, and there were 7 dogs at each game. My daughter's soccer on Saturdays and Sundays through the Berlin Rec, I would say there's easily 10 dogs. Softball, 10 dogs. There's people like Christy Sullivan, her husband walks around Centerelli with their dog. There's tons of people with dogs. But understand that this sign is gonna be posted at the top of community playground, and it's gonna encompass everything down to high school. Soccer West, the retention pond, the auxiliary field, the basketball courts, the tennis courts, tracks, Centerelli, playground.
Well, what do you
So-
want the ordinance to say?
So Steve and I reviewed what it had written, and really made one change. We said dogs are not allowed on playing fields, playgrounds, golf courses, tracks, outdoor courts, or inside the fenced-in area at the pools. That was the only change.
Or
we came
inside
up
the
with.
fencing area, what?
At the pools, fenced-in area at the pools. That was the only change we suggested.
Okay, so dog goes in at the football field goes, it's okay.
No, that's not what they're saying, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it
Are
is.
you saying they
Because
can
you
go
got-
inside?
So
That's the thing.
Scalise, I'll be honest, didn't even cross my mind. I'm
But
fine if you
that's-
wanna put an amendment in for Scalise.
So what do we
Police,
want to
What
do?
about
Because-
what about the softball and the baseball?
So
So if the bleachers are outside the fence.
Right, so here's the thing, there's bleachers as safe auxiliary too, and people sitting over there with their dogs. and
Yeah,
stuff
To
like
me,
right.
Sage
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Zipadelli
I
are different
understand.
from Scalise because the field itself is fenced in. Whereas at Scalise, the field is fenced in with the bleachers.
Yeah.
Whereas Sage One and Zipadelli, as long as you say don't go on the playing field, the
It's
field is
Scalise, you got
fenced
two
in,
sets of
so you're
fences.
covered.
Right, just say
Two
fenced
sets of fences at Scalise.
Right, just say
Right.
fenced in area.
So the playing field is protected. It's the area where people are in the bleachers.
Like you said, you had mentioned petting complex. I don't think there's any reason why.
Kind of complex, right, I mean, I'm just, that's
Like
why I
if,
think,
if
yeah.
the dog is in center field with its owner watching the game, to me, there's no harm in that, they're not on the playing
If
field.
the dog's on a leash and they're
Yeah.
out to watch a soccer game on
And
Saturday.
according to this, they have to be on a leash now.
Yeah,
But I don't think we should bring a dog to a football game. with,
No,
You know, a few hundred people sitting there.
But that
It's
sign's a lot
Scalise.
easier to make than 400 signs.
Right.
No
I
dogs
think
allowed
adding
inside
an
the fence
amendment to this specifically, Scalise is the only field in town where the field and bleachers are fenced in together with a locking gate. I think you do an amendment on this to spotlight everything we said, including how you want to write Scalise. But like I said, Sage and Zipadelli, the fields themselves are fenced in, the fence goes around the field, so
They
there's
are,
no reason
they
you
are.
can't
So
be
by
outside
saying
the
playing
field.
field, we're keeping the dogs off
Right.
the playing.
that's
field.
right, that was, that
John,
was.
you've been on this committee for 10 years, right? 10,
So
15 years?
Scalise, we changed the wording in school, to accept Scalise. They're not allowed inside the first fence.
Not allowed inside the fenced areas. that's
Right.
it.
The whole premise, when we started this, was to
Thank you.
keep them off the fields, right?
And yeah, and keep in mind, with this, not only are they not allowed on playing fields, playgrounds, golf courses, tracks, outdoor courts, inside fenced areas of at pools. But they're allowed at the other ground areas, but they have to be on a leash now. Before, they didn't even have to be on a
Right,
leash.
no,
So
they-
now they have
It's
to
a
be on a
seven,
leash.
right, 7-foot leash.
Right.
It was even 20, now they reduced it to 7, so.
But there's no reason somebody can't sit on the north end zone above the pavilion and watch the game.
Right, outside the fence.
There's no reason they can't sit on the south side,
Yes,
where the ambulance is, and watch a
Right.
soccer game. Or a lacrosse. There's
Can you
areas
give me
they
that
can
we're
sit.
inside pool?
We just added we put a comma after
Yeah,
track,
go sit outside there. at the
or
north end.
inside the
You're not
fenced
paying
in areas
fee
at
either.
the pools.
You don't pay an entrance fee.
Right.
We also-
And some people sit on top of the window. No.
I know.
Yeah.
Last year, I remember Frank Langy was chasing them around, because, the games were no spectators. So visiting parents were sitting on top of that hill. And he said, he didn't care because he knows they're like a coyote or something.
Oh, Jesus.
We also added, Percival Pool to under designated public property.
Hold on.
When Jen and I had the conversation, we sat down and figured out how would we explain this to a resident? How would we explain this to the person who got a citation to make it make sense? We couldn't, we didn't have a logical explanation to tell the parent who was walking around Sage Park Pond that he couldn't bring a dog because it's inside of an athletic facility. Well, where else would it go?
Well,
It is hard.
Yeah, it's the great, they have.
And within the
They
first
got,
fence,
the new
what's
dog-
Scalise's
dog leash
official name?
for dogs.
Scalise.
Please,
Was it
leash free
only
dog.
I think
But
it's
you
Scalise.
get it, you
Don't
have
say
a
Scalise.
puppy, you've been taking the puppy to all your college visits, you
I
get
don't
it,
think it's
that's all
done
it's part of
anything
your family. If you had young kids
I
right
don't
now, and they
remember.
were playing sporting events, you know you'd be bringing that dog to some of the sporting events in the nice weather.
We have the sign right out there.
I mean, yes, okay, you're right. I brought my dog to Wickham, okay, to the cross-country meets. My dog is not good at Wickham. I'm not bringing her back there.
But see, and that's, I
It's
think,
difficult.
by you doing that, I just had faith in you as a responsible dog owner. You went, you tried it, it didn't work. If I bring my dog, I can't bring my dog, I can't bring my dog to any sporting events at all. She's crazy. She's whining, she's not comfortable,
Yeah,
she's terrified. She doesn't come anymore.
See, that still makes you a responsible pet owner. There's people that out there
Right,
that may not care that way.
but there's also people out there that no matter how many rules you put in place, I mean, look, I oversee animal control, and I have no idea the kind of stuff I deal with, that no matter how many rules are set in place, they're just not gonna follow them.
But the bottom line is, all dogs need to be on leashes. That's the most.
Yeah, that's the most. important.
Yeah, no.
That's on a leash.
Right, they got that done.
And then not sitting with me at the stand watching football is good too.
Poor dog got hardly moved.
Unless it's
He's
a
got
service
cigar out
animal,
of his mouth.
Yeah, he went up to handicap range.
unless it's a service animal.
That's-
Well, I was looking for that, but it was not. It was like a jet sweater or something.
They
Should've known about it
they
anyways.
don't have to wear sweaters anymore. They don't have to be noticeable
Oh, no?
now,
No,
there's a card.
service animals.
Okay, Jen, what's your other change?
Where it says designated public property, it has the more did not,
Which page you on? The first one?
yeah, where
Yeah.
it says designated public property and it goes to the next page. We just added Percival Pool, because it had the East Berlin Pool, but it did not have Percival Pool. And the
So
more did the,
I guess I'm missing the designated, yeah, so it says, so I'm missing, which is not, something is missing, there's another page missing.
It goes from
I gave you all the copies, I don't know.
Yeah. it
The
was-
back side of the one I gave you,
What's this? That top paragraph.
Top paragraph.
And we just have to figure out the wording for Scalise, if you guys want to add
designate
that.
means public property in which animals can be on a leash, right, so they can be on a leash, and includes the area of bison, which is not part of the meadow.
So, by the way,
Having a leash or leave that
I was-
is 10 feet or less.
I was talking to Carl Lewis, who's on the conservation committee, he's got no clue where the meadow is. He walks around all these places, so I think they may have passed motion.
They met the other night.
Yeah, but we didn't finish our conversation. I
That
called him.
bicentennial?
Yeah. He said, I think we didn't finish our conversation.
Isn't the meadow the open area? When you,
I don't know.
It's absolutely amazing bicentennial. You could walk every single trail at bicentennial and not see any dogs. Come around through that meadow and there had to.
They're all out there.
20 dogs.
Yeah,
Without even backing out. There was not
Jen,
one
I'm
on
sorry.
any trail.
eliminate pet complex.
my father's probably in there.
Yes,
We're gonna put his dog on a leash. Doesn't matter what we do.
and add Percival Pool.
Let's go.
And have to haul him off to the clinic.
Percival Pool.
Oh, yeah, done.
Right, I told
Right,
him
public
that,
property
I'm like,
means
who's gonna, somebody's got a
animals
call,
can be on a
they're
leash
gonna arrest
or
you,
leave
83-year-old man, for your, 7-year-old dog.
Well, go off, go down and bail them out.
Yeah, that would be a flip, right?
Yeah,
It is
it's pet
public land, not
complex for this one. So we're taking that out.
So designate. So. All right, so so designated public property means public property on which animals can be on a leash or lead that is 10 feet in length. That's a, or less, and includes the area of Bicentennial Park, which is not part of the memo. So again, they can take their dog a 10-foot leash. The community playground, so they're gonna be allowed to bring their dog in the community playground. Percival Pool, the more than the Bittner Junior Pool, that's what it's saying, right?
I know.
Little People's Playground, Pistol Creek. So then we say dogs are not allowed inside fenced-in areas of the town pools.
Right.
That's on the second part, that's on the
Right.
back part.
Right. So no dog allowed inside fenced-in areas of the town pools, but outside it, they can be on it because they're designated and they can be on a 10-foot leash.
Correct.
It's amazing that all these years, you could bring your dog anywhere you wanted in town or without a leash.
A
Would
leash,
make no
yeah.
difference at all.
You guys just have to add in wording for Scalise.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, I think that, some neighbors, they didn't realize that they didn't have a leash law.
There are a lot of people, I get a lot of calls that know, like neighbor's dog is just running around without a leash.
Right.
We don't need it.
It's not
Joe.
unusual to have a no leash law.
No, it's very unusual.
It took this long to get it.
Yeah.
I've been discussing it a long time. We'll just wait for the next dog park, wherever that might be. Joe, could you follow us? I apologize again, no, just go
I was
by.
able to no, I was able to follow most of it. I am gonna swing by probably tomorrow to try to pick up a copy of the paperwork if I can from Jen's office. But I was able to follow most of the discussion.
He's gonna stop by tomorrow and grab a copy from Jen's office.
Okay, well,
But he was able to follow it.
Thanks, Jeff.
all right, Jen, can you just send out a copy of this with my mark? You can send it
Yeah, you
out
can give me
tomorrow.
that?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you.
Oh,
And then what I'd like to do though is I want to give a heads up to the town attorney because I want them to see this wording so that they're prepared for November 30th and it's not a surprise. Okay, because they may have further questions of us. So what I'd like is a motion to accept the amended changes that were made on the draft ordinance dated October 18th. That allows Jen to pass this to the town attorney for
To the town manager.
consideration prior to the public meeting.
I'll pass to the town manager, the commission's request to pass to the town.
And if he's not gonna do it, let us know. I mean. Okay,
All right. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the changes that we made to the amendments to chapter 3 animals and chapter 13 parks and recreation open spaces dated,
16, right?
no, it's 10 and 3 is 13, right?
10,
Oh,
no, it's chapter,
Chapter.
chapter 16. Yeah, okay. Sorry. I
Anyway,
switched it.
October 8th, of October 18th, to allow the edited changes for Jen to make it forward up to the town manager. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
In
Aye.
favor?
Okay, and I'll give you this, Jen. You guys all set?
Yeah.
I'll give you this, okay? All right, personal, soccer?
First of all, we reached out to our architect, we're still filtering through everything we have from the last time we went out there, we're gonna sit down with our architect and kind of get his gauge before we go out to bid for architects, just kind of see if he's, we've worked with Luke a number of times and he's kind of willing to sit with us and give us some feedback before we have to go out to bid and possibly hire another architect. We have a lunch scheduled with him, we have a meeting scheduled with him in December.
so what are you guys looking at? Just
We're very early in the process. We have
Okay, that's
to,
fine.
we have to review all our plans.
Yeah.
And really kind of get his feedback on things.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Sage Park restrooms.
So you got my last email, I was gonna take it off, but I figured in case anyone had any questions, but I sent the last update out that they were opening, so all the porta potties are gone.
We're doing a final walkthrough next Wednesday or Thursday with facilities and Mazzarella Builders.
Have you guys seen it?
Yeah, it's cool.
I have not.
It's nice. And one of the parents uses it this weekend. Someplace sitting on fresh stainless steel.
Well, that's my question, I guess. So. I'm sorry, I can let it go. We went, both me and my wife, checked it out, walked in. Yes, it looks nice, it's updated, it's new, it's all of these things. But it's also the same. Why?
It's the
So the
same,
reason for the renovation was piping, right?
The stainless steel fixtures.
are they taller, the taller toilets?
No, the stainless steel, everything's stainless steel.
Right, so everything is stainless steel because that's the grade that you want to have. That's gonna last the longest. The problems with the old stuff when it was installed, it was bought for a prison. and it never worked properly. You couldn't get the eyes, the plumbing, you couldn't get the eyes, you couldn't get the sensors, you couldn't get everything to work, where everything was inside of a chase wall. So now everything that's there now, like the old sinks were about this big, now it's a longer trough sink. The toilets where you would flush and you play mystery, like you were gonna go to the bathroom, and this one was gonna land in this other toilet, it was gonna go back and forth. That's been corrected. So yes, it kind of resembles the same, but everything is new. The piping is new, the fixtures are new, the sensors are all new, where now you can get parts 20 years down the road for these. If something goes wrong, you pick up the phone, call the Grant Plumbing, you go there, pick up the plumbing supply.
So is the sinks that weren't working, are they working now?
Yeah, they're all, it's one whole trough, where before it was individual sinks.
Probably makes sense.
It's like Fenway Park with the troughs in the men's room.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because I was on the bleachers and I saw the lobsters, they put lobsters in the troughs and.
It's the Berlin Fair.
Yes.
For the guys.
Right, right.
So who picks all that stuff?
Picks,
Jesus.
Selection.
Aesthetics.
everything was picked by facilities.
I picked the blue and the gray theme. I have to say in that.
Nice. The floor is very nice.
It
There's no
is.
question.
Yeah.
The floor is a durable floor. It's gonna last for a very long time. But, I don't know, aesthetically looking at the stainless steel.
The problem is if they put porcelain in there and somebody went in there and kicked it and smashed it. Stainless steel is vandalism. Porcelain is not. Porcelain gets cold enough in there, especially during the winter, it cracks, stainless steel doesn't. Any
Don't
type
forget,
of
we turn
moisture
off, we
gets.
so-
winterize the building, you turn off the heat
These
too.
aren't gonna tarnish and turn, weird colors.
So the only people that will be cleaning them is the facilities department. Nobody else cleans them, goes in there and does anything to them except that. And Brett, who's in charge of the custodial staff, does a fabulous job of making sure that every bathroom and everything they take care of the town is spotless. So I don't see them going in there with a harsh acid like was done in the past and staining them to look disgusting.
Soils was bad. So hopefully now we can be okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know about-
I'm
I'm taking,
I
I'm
didn't
taking it
know
off the
about-
agenda, Tony.
I didn't know about
Get it in
the
now.
toilets, so.
That doesn't stop.
Such a
me.
The mystery flush.
That stops me not at all.
And we embrace it.
I just think it's odd, that's all, that it was exactly, another stainless steel setup, white toilet seats on top of a stainless steel commode, I don't know. We both walked out and said, it's the same thing.
Except there wasn't any ground inside. Side of the plant. Anyway. That's new, maybe last 20 years.
Let's hope.
24th, exactly.
So now gets, the football game is on the 19th, is the last one, gets shut off, then how does that work? You winterize
So
the building?
everything will be winterized the November 30th, November 31st.
Thanksgiving's not in Berlin?
Not the 31st.
New Britain, they play the 19th.
Oh,
So November
Yeah,
30th,
really.
they'll go in there and they'll winterize the building, because we don't work after that.
Wait, what then?
November
I was
30th.
gonna say, yeah, 'cause we need it.
They'll
for
change the
21st.
locks, all the locks in the facility get changed, so nobody can get in there. The locks on the gate will probably be changed as well.
Yeah, The last,
So we just secure the whole entire area.
the last activity on school use is November 21st, I believe.
By the way, the locks on the doors, they're seamless. I couldn't believe it, the door locks that were on there before, you're jiggling, you're doing it, I had to get a new key from you, because it just goes in, it's really just nuts.
Nice that thing, how much did it cost? $130,000, 2 bathrooms, plus they do the locks.
Yeah, new locks, new doors, everything's caulked. I was over there, and I was checking, that was about my matter.
Okay?
Yep.
Good, thank you. State of Connecticut grant,
Oh, well, here we go.
We got progress.
all right.
Adam Salino was able to get a hold of somebody at the state, put him in touch with Kevin, guy called Kevin back the next day. And they have reviewed everything and they're starting to put together the paperwork that we will then have to sign. So
Excellent.
it's good. It doesn't sound good, but it's good.
Yeah.
The fact that he has someone that he's corresponding now with, so.
Glad Adam reached out.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Good. All right, Joe, want to make a motion that we end the meeting? Okay,
Somebody-
Tony, somebody's ready to vote.
Motion to adjourn.
Somebody
I'll
adjourn.
second the motion.
Second, all in favor, aye. Thank you.
Bye, Joe.
So I talked to Carl Lewis on the conservation committee.
Yeah.